everyone. This is Carrie with Any Day Blessings, and on this channel you can expect to find videos just like this one. Curriculum, walkthroughs, tips and tricks. I even show you how we store our curriculum in organizational videos. I give you tips on how to schedule a homeschool day and a homeschool year. I even show you some snippets into day in the life, how lessons actually look in our home. So it's almost 100% homeschool here. Every now and then I will throw in a just for fun vlog or something like that, but primarily this is an all homeschool channel. If you are new here, welcome. I'd love to have you stick around and consider subscribing, and go ahead and hit the like button on this video so I know that this is the kind of content that you are interested in seeing. Now, you may recognize this book before you. This is Math Lessons for a Living Education from Master Books. And by far, my most watched homeschool video is a similar review that I did for the Language Lessons for a Living Education, also published by Master Books. And that video, last I checked, had like 13 or 14,000 views, which for my size of a channel is huge and definitely the biggest or the most number of views for homeschool videos. Now, I do have a couple other videos that I made for something else that I do, but for homeschool, this is definitely the biggest number of, or the most watched company reviews that I do is Master Books. So I decided to go ahead and do a similar video for the math course that I did for the language lesson course, because I get so much positive feedback that video really helped them have confidence to use the course, and it answered their questions about the course. So I'm hoping to do something similar here, because I do hear similar myths out there, some things that just simply aren't accurate about this course, and I hope to kind of answer them and show you from one mom to another, one homeschool mom to another, how we plan to use this, how you could use it, and what is actually contained in here. What is this course about? So this isn't going to be a comprehensive flip through. There are plenty of those on YouTube. This is just going to be my tips and tricks and kind of dispelling some of those myths that you may have heard. Now, first of all, I am going to just give you a very brief look inside the book. So just to kind of prepare us for the things I'm going to say later on. But this course is set up in a 5-day week, 36-week format. So you see the exercise numbers up there in that orange triangle. That is the day number. So lesson 2 has exercise 1 or day 1, exercise 2, day 2. See what I'm saying? And then when you get to the lesson numbers, that represents a week. Now that is if you are doing a 5-day, 36-week homeschool week. You certainly can schedule this in different ways that fits with your needs, but that's the basic layout of the book. This is written with a Charlotte Mason flair. It is not purist. It doesn't follow strictly to the Charlotte Mason methods, but it does have that feel and flavor, the living math approach. It does have story content in here that it pulls the lessons from, but it isn't completely based off, or should I say, it's not solely based off of Charlotte Mason's method. It does pull in some other philosophies of education as well. It is written directly to the homeschooler. If you have followed my channel for any length of time, you know that I give this little trifecta about Master Books all the time. I can't find another company that meets all three of these things: written to the homeschooler, affordable, and written from a biblical worldview. And this is no exception to that. All of their products, I believe, would fall into that trifecta. And this as well is very affordable. These courses run about $30. They're an all-in-one book until you get to level 6. And there's no additional teacher guide. This is just an all-in-one course where the instructions for the teacher are given along with the student exercises. So all in one, very affordable. You can get it. I actually got this in the scratch and dent section for right around $20. So they do pop up in the scratch and dent section every now and again. And you guys, I can't find a single ding or fold or scratch or anything on this book. So this is in perfect condition. I believe also you have the option of getting this in an ebook. So if you wanted to print out pages, but at $30, you guys, I really think you would probably save money just getting the physical copy of the book. All right, so I would like to start off by answering some myths that I've heard, okay? A lot of the myths are actually very similar to the language lessons course. Just like language lessons, I hear the same about math lessons for living education, that it is behind, or it is too light, it is not enough, things of that flavor. All right, so let's tackle that one first. We hear a lot in the Moms of Master Books group, which, by the way, if you are part of the Moms of Master Books community, just leave me MOMB down below and let me know that you are part of that community. I love seeing you all outside of our normal Facebook group or outside of the app. So whenever a mom of Master Books stops by my channel, I always like to give a special hello. So if you are here from that group, please just leave a comment down below, MOMB, and let me know that you're watching. And feel free, by all means, feel free to chime in on these things as well so that my viewers can gain extra help from you too. But I hear all the time that this course is not enough. It is light. And I'm just going to start to address that here by opening up to this section? Yes, this section here. How can mathematics be taught as a living subject? And this kind of goes along with something I've already said, that this is actually inspired largely by the Charlotte Mason method. And so I'm not going to read through here or anything. You can certainly do that on your own. This is available on the Master Books website. There will be a link down below. It is a referral link just to let Master Books know that I sent you there. We both will get a certain percentage back towards future purchases if you make a purchase on that link. But just to be forthright about that, it is a referral link in the description. And from that link, you can go to the whatever math course you want, and you can read this for yourself. Or I guess you could hit pause and read it here. But this kind of addresses the first part of that myth, okay, that Master Books math is behind. First of all, it is written with a different goal. It is written with the intent to bring math into the everyday realm. It is written with the intent to get your child to love and see a need for math. It is written with the intent to show the divine creator's design and hand and order in mathematics. So it doesn't really get into too much of the latter piece that I mentioned in these lower books, but by the time you get up into the levels, and certainly by the time you reach the Principles of Mathematics course that Master Books offers, you are really seeing some spiritual application and really delight at the Creator's work when you study math. And so that lends itself to a different goal. Okay, you have a different goal. You have different objectives. Yes, we have some academic objectives here, but we have a different goal in mind. We're not just looking to get facts and figures in our kids' heads. We're looking to develop a relationship with learning, a relationship with math that will allow our child or children to enjoy the process of learning math, which seems so foreign to so many of you watching this probably, but it really does seek to have that sort of a feel to the course. In doing that, we don't want to focus so heavily on rote memory and facts and facts and facts and write and write and write and do and do and do, because you're going to kill any chance you have at developing a love for learning and a love for math in that approach. In one of the ways that they try to build on that Charlotte Mason inspired kind of platform is by using manipulatives that you just have around the house. So not going out and getting like math, subject specific things, but having your child begin to use things that you have around your house and things that are everyday items so that math becomes an everyday relationship thing. Today, for example, my son was trying to figure out how long he wanted to make his track to make it 5 meters, but he only had a tape measure that was in inches. And he was trying to remember how to convert this, and he came up to me and asked me, and I looked at him and smiled, and he knew exactly what I was going to say. He said, and I said, buddy, looks like you need math for your Hot Wheel cars, doesn't it? And he just got this big smile. He's just like, yep, I'm glad I'm learning math so I can do my Hot Wheels race. And so this kind of an approach lends itself to those little hooks for learning that you might have heard of, those little ties to the skills that they're learning in their math course in their everyday life. That's what they're seeking to develop. And in order to do that, there's a more methodical, slower pace at the things like fact memory and number of problems and computations and things like that. That doesn't mean that this approach is slower or behind, quote unquote, where your child is supposed to be. Let me see here. Oh, I think it's the first page. Because you see, by the time they finish this course, they will be telling time, introducing simple fractions, working on addition and subtraction. They're going to do counting by twos, counting by tens, things like that. These are all completely age level appropriate things for this course. And so I hope that first little explanation will help you kind of dispel that myth that this isn't any way behind. But furthermore, let's just talk about placement for a second here, okay? This is level 1. That does not mean grade 1. Let's just all say that again together. Just at home, repeat after me. This does not mean grade 1. In our home, this is kindergarten. In someone else's home, this may be 2nd grade. There is a suggestion on the back of the book that this is recommended for grade 1. I'm just going to be honest, if Master Books is watching this, I wish you'd take this off, and I also wish that you would take off level 1. Let's call this the piggy book. Let's call this level A. Let's call this something else. But I think so many are missing out on this because this right here is throwing them off and giving people unnecessary worry over using this material. Wherever your child places, that's the level they are for that grade. Don't get hung up on these numbers. Just don't. Because the placement tests will tell you what level your child needs. And just as a note on the placement test, you guys, the placement tests for these, if your child passes the placement test for level 1, but doesn't pass the placement test for level 2, that means your child needs to take level 1. It's a little different than placement tests in other companies. The placement test is letting you know that your child is ready for that course. So if they pass the placement test for level 1, they're ready for level 1. Go ahead and give them the placement test for level 2. They don't pass that one, okay, they're not ready for level 2 because they didn't pass the placement test for it. Does that make sense? I hope so. If you have any questions about that, leave them down below. But if your child passes the placement test for level 2 in kindergarten, whoa. That's where they are. If they pass the placement test for level 1 in 3rd grade, that's where they are. Now, it doesn't mean that you maybe don't want to work up to being somewhere that's closer to this recommendation or age range. Of course, you want to try and bring your child to their potential, for sure. But when you are talking about placing them, just know that this is not how you do it, okay? All right. So that kind of goes along with whether it's behind or ahead, because people are looking at these numbers and saying, oh, well, such and such a curriculum is doing this in first grade and such is doing that. Just that we're not comparing apples to apples. These are levels, not grades. Okay. All right. The second thing I hear all the time that's a myth now, especially it's a myth because of what's coming. I hear there's not enough practice. So this is one day's lesson right here. Well, they would read this on day one. On day one, they read the story. So they would read this, or you would read it to them in these younger years. And then this is their to-do. Exercise 1, okay? And this here, okay? Some days there's just one page. Oh, that's front and back. But some days there's just one front of a page. On this one, I should have marked a better example. But this one, there's just one, there is a front and back. But some days there's just maybe a front of practice. Let me go back here. Is this one? No, that's not what I wanted to show. That's not for... I wanted to get into where they start. Oh, here, addition. Here we go. Okay, so this right here, after you read the story, this is what your child does. They say, this is not enough practice. I hear that all the time. There is not enough practice in this course. 6 problems, that's just not enough. There are 2 things wrong with this, okay? Number 1, a lot of people are basing that on like the page previews. So they're looking at this and they're saying, oh, there's only 6 problems. What they're not doing is looking at some of these types of gray boxes that are found throughout that are actually giving you more activity to do with your child. They're also not taking into consideration now that there are extra practice pages coming out. So now that those practice pages are available, you have these that you could probably do with your child. Watch them. Be there right beside them to make sure that they don't have any questions. Have them get their place value and their counting mat out to do these with. This is kind of the hands-on, demonstrate what you've learned activity. That's how I'm viewing this. Then you pick up the Practice Makes Perfect, I think that's what they're called, practice packs. Is it practice? I think they're called Practice Makes Perfect packs, or maybe they're just called practice packs. But they're coming. They're not released yet, but they're coming, and you take that sheet, and that's the part that your child does independently if you feel like they need more. Many moms don't. Many moms feel like I can grasp that my child knows this after just practicing this. If you feel like this is enough, then stop here. But if one of your myths that you've been operating under is that there's not enough practice, just know that they are giving you things in this box to do with your child to give that more practice, to give you more practice. It's not just this written thing. There's a whole exercise that you do here that your child will practice their math facts. The whole section of activity listed in these gray boxes, and these are throughout the course. So what you see here in the way of written exercises is not all that your child will do in any given day. In this particular day, there is the instruction to start making the right brain flashcards. There is instruction in the back here about how to do that. And in fact, Masterbooks does now sell some flashcards that you could purchase if you don't want to make your own. But if you just go by what you see in people's flip-throughs and say, oh my goodness, there's only 5 problems, oh my goodness, like that's not enough, or oh, they're just writing these, that's all they're doing this day. Well, what you're missing is you're missing the fact that, number 1, we have practice packs now coming, so that's option 1. And number 2 is you don't know all of the things that are suggested in the front of the book about how to extend the lesson or how to bring everyday life into these lessons. And that can multiply the application factor, by 3, 4, 5, depending on how many examples you want to do. So just keep those things in mind. When you have a brand new writer, which at 5 or 6, as this is geared toward, you probably have a brand new writer, they don't want to be sitting there, their poor little hands, doing 20 math problems anyway. So if they only have to use the motor skill of actually writing out the problems 5 or 6 times and then maybe do some orally with you in some of those gray teacher boxes, that with one student, okay, you're not teaching a whole classroom here, with one student, you will be able to gauge whether they grasp the concept with that amount of practice. You really will. All right, one other thing I see a lot is there's not enough review. I want to highlight to you here at the beginning that there is review time, review time, review time, review time. See where I'm going? Every week there is a review of that weekly concept. Now, something that there is not is cumulative review. Where is, oh, here we are. Okay. So after, oh, wait, I know, I want to go to this page. So after week 5, there's a review of concepts. That's a cumulative review. After week 9, there's a review of concepts. There's a cumulative review. But there's weekly review each week of what was taught that week. The only thing that I can think of that maybe people are saying there's not enough review is because after week 9, there isn't another review week, or comprehensive cumulative review week until you get down here to the end. This is an easy fix, you guys. All you have to do is if you want to bring that review into the course itself, after week, let's see, we did one at 5, we did one at 9, let's do one after week 13. Bring lesson 31 up, review of shapes, and do it here after lesson 13. You want to bring up lesson 32, review of place value. Let's see when we covered place value. See, you don't, okay, right here in 7, 8, 10, okay, so you covered place value there. So maybe after week like 17 or 18, make sure they still remember place value. Bring up lesson 32, which is week 32. Bring up that review week of place value. You don't have to leave these review weeks of lessons at the bottom, you guys. You can bring these up and use these throughout the course if you feel your child would be more benefited from more regular, frequent review. They have it here. All you have to do is take the freedom to rearrange this in a way that makes sense for you and your child. I've said this multiple times about Masterbooks courses. These are courses that are laid out for you so you don't really have to do anything. You just open up and just go. But they're also laid out to be completely customizable. It's really a unique format in that it allows you to just open and go, but then also is completely customizable. It's really a great balance that they've discovered. Okay, so that's the option for the review. Let's see. Too much reading. Oh my goodness. I have to say, you guys, I was guilty of this one because I thought one of the reviewers that I watched said that they had to read this every single day. We had to read this every single day and then do their lesson, okay? And after I got this in my hands myself, I now understand that the reading portion we do on day 1, and if my child remembers what we read and remembers the concept, I don't have to read it on these other days. I just come and do the exercise for that day. There's nowhere here that says go back and read, and there's nowhere in this front matter that says go back and read each day. I was very misunderstood about, I misunderstood what was going on here. I based it off of someone else's review instead of looking at it a little more closely myself. So if the too much reading thing is bothering you, just know that it's not part of every daily lesson. Furthermore, the author has said that it would be a little more difficult to make the connections, but the reading isn't even necessary to teach the concepts. You really could do the teaching for the course just from the practice page. The directions are all here. You could even skip the reading. It's not recommended that you do that. It's recommended that you read to your child these sections because it will help to make those connections. But if the reading is all that's holding you back, just know it's not every day and it's not required. All right. Some tips to make this your own. What I would do is I would go through here. I would go through here in the manipulative section, okay? I would, if this was me, I would mark out the first time that you need these things. And that's something I might do over on my Instagram page. I might just put that up because really I have most of these things, but like, okay, old magazines, I may not have those. So I probably will go ahead and just mark out when I need these so that I make sure that I have them because the things that are all here, I have, but like magazines, I don't know. I don't know if I have like 100 counting items like dried beans or buttons. To be honest, I don't know if I have that. I might. But I don't have snack size baggies. I really don't keep those kinds of things in the house. Just the big bags. So there are some things in here that I will have to get, but I'm just going to mark when I would need them just so that I don't get to the lesson and then don't have it. The author has a video about the Place Value Village. I will scroll to the back because I wanted to tell you about this also. Oh, excuse that noise. My husband just got home and the garage door is right below this room and is going up. So here is your manipulative section, and here are the Place Value Village houses. These are actually or how do I want to say? The process for using this is very well laid out in a video that the author did. Angela Odell is the author of this course, and on her YouTube page, she actually has a video of how to make the Place Value Village. I would highly recommend that you watch that before you come to this lesson to teach it. I would also recommend that you go to Math Antics, which is the Masterbook's recommended YouTube channel for extra practice and extra help in teaching the lessons. Math Antics. It's a YouTube channel. I would also recommend that if you need to slow this down, do the lessons orally with a whiteboard. Don't have your child write. If they're having trouble with the computation side of this or with the conceptual side of this, do it orally. Again, you have new writers that are learning to do the gross motor task of writing in this at the same time that they're trying to do the mental task of math. So if that would alleviate part of the energy exertion, have them do it orally and you write the numbers on a whiteboard. There's plenty of practice in here for them writing their numbers if that's their issue, that I would just have them do that and praise them when they make their letters correctly. And then on the pages that call for more computation type things, do those orally and have your child gain some confidence with writing first and then move on to doing the exercises written as well. All right, the last thing I would recommend before I tell you my plan, if you need to speed this up, obviously you could do 2 lessons a day. These lessons are short, you guys, so you could certainly do lesson 1 and lesson 2 in one day. You could, because see, here's lesson 2, exercise 2 and exercise 1. You could do that in one day. But also what you could do is you could actually skip over some lessons in the week. So lesson 1, we're learning numbers 0 to 9. If your child already knows that, maybe just do 2 lessons out of week 9. I'm sorry, I'm going off camera here. Just do 2 lessons off of week 9. So maybe we just do this one and this one. Okay, maybe we do this one and this one. Okay, just have them do a couple and then move through the weeks more quickly that way. I wouldn't skip entire weeks because, believe it or not, mamas, even though you think your little one has mastered numbers 0 to 9, you might be pretty surprised when they're asked to write 0 to 9 that their 3 is backwards, or maybe they're drawing the picture of 6 ducks here to the letter 9. They're crossing and they're getting confused. So I would say don't skip it entirely to speed up, but maybe just do 2 lessons out of, or 2 exercises out of that lesson each week. Real quick, I'm going to give you my plan for this because it sounds like I have a hungry crew downstairs that wants some supper. But my plan for this is simple. We are using, before I considered this, before they got those practice packs, I had already chosen to do something else with my daughter for kindergarten. And the books are yay big, you guys. We are going to fly through those faster than anything. So I know that I wanted to give her something else to do in math, but I didn't want to move her up to first grade level math in kindergarten. So I felt like this was the perfect stopgap because the first half of the year covers what we will have covered in our other course. And this will start to introduce in a very gentle, age-appropriate manner with a living math focus. This will start to introduce some of the things that we will encounter at the beginning of our first grade year. So this is actually just going to be a mid-year kindergarten fill-in until we get to first grade math. Or what I'm calling first grade math anyway. And so this is not going to be what we start off with. You won't see us day in the life this at the very beginning of our school year, but we will get to this probably after Christmas time, okay? So this has gone longer than I intended. I feel like a lot of this video was just me pointing to things, not really showing you things, but did I show you? Let me go back here and see what my little post-it notes were on to make sure. Oh, yes. There's recipes, you guys. Isn't that fun? There's recipes and scavenger hunts. It's just a very engaging and delightful experiential experience-based learning style, and I'm excited to have it in our home, and I'm looking forward to getting into it and using it. I will bring you along and show you how that's going, and let you know some other little tweaks and things that I may have for it. But for now, you can visit the links in the description that I mentioned for more information, and let me know if you have any tips or tricks or ways that you have discovered that all those myths you've heard about this course just aren't true. Thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you in the comments. Bye-bye.